Hello, Mrs. Yakko here with a Christmas edition of art class. Some of you guys were missing art this week, so I thought I would just go ahead and make an art project that you can do if you like. We're going to be making these kind of cool Christmas trees, 3D trees. You can use these to decorate tables, or if you want, you can actually just go ahead and use one of these sides, put a bunch of glue on it, and just stick it into a card. And then whenever people have the card come out, it turns into this 3D tree. So you can do whatever you like with these, but I'm going to show you how I did them. For these, I actually did two different patterns. I made kind of like this ice cube looking pattern and then this circular looking pattern. And I just used toys that my kids play with to be able to do that. My baby plays with these, so I thought they were a cool shape. You can find other things around your house to make patterns. I also used a ruler to just make some like stripes, some crazy stripes. So I'm going to go ahead and make my tree with these patterns here. So after you make your pattern, or you can, if you just want to use like green paper, you can just use green construction paper. But if you want to do the pattern, you can too. I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half one way and then fold it in half the other way, kind of like we do when we make snowflakes. And I am going to do both papers at the same time because my scissors can cut through them. You may find that you have to do one at a time, but then what you could do is once you cut out one tree, you can use it as a pattern on the other paper. So I'm going to fold the papers, both of them in half like this, and then I'm going to fold them in half the other way. And it's very important for this project that we keep everything, keep the trees looking similar so that they line up with each other. So I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler, and I'm going to make this tree 4 inches wide on the bottom. So I'm going to mark every inch. I'm also going to mark where I started here. So let me use a darker pencil so you can see. I am marking the beginning of the ruler, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find 2 inches. That line in the middle is actually going to be the middle of our tree. So I'm going to go ahead and line up my ruler with the edge of the paper and make a line right through that middle dot. Okay, and then I'm going to put a dot at the top of the tree where I want the top of the tree to be. Okay, so I just went to the 2 inch mark and put a line straight up to that top part. And now we're going to connect our outside dots with the top part. And for you 5th graders, this is going to look an awful lot like our 1-point perspective pictures we've been working on. So we're going to go ahead and make 2 lines like that. Voila. And then from those other dots, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to make dotted lines that go to that point at the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. These lines are going to be guidelines if you want to make your tree have different branches. Now, if you wanted to make it simple, you could just go ahead and cut this out, just the outside triangle, and you can make it into a tree. But if you want to make it look like it has branches, what you're going to do is you're going to use your ruler right now, and you're going to make vertical lines across where you want to have your branches. And they do not have to be exact as far as how distant they are from each other, but they do. It'd be a good idea to try to make them straight across if you can. So line up your ruler with the edge of the paper and then go ahead and make some sections to your tree. So right now I just made 3 lines. You can make your tree different if you want to. My other trees I might have done, I think I did 3 lines for those too. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to use my ruler and I am going to connect from the outside. I'm going to leave this top part. I should say this. This top part's going to stay exactly as it is. I'm going to go ahead and connect this next line up to where the dotted line crosses and this side up to where the dotted line crosses. So let me do that real quick so you can see what I'm talking about, and then I'll do the other two. Maybe I'll do this in a slightly darker color so you can, or a slightly different color so you can see the difference. Okay. So I went ahead and I connected from the outside of the line to where the dotted line crosses, outside of the line to where the dotted line crosses. And I'm going to do that on the other 2 layers below. So from the outside to the dotted line, outside to dotted line, outside to dotted line, and outside to dotted line. Okay. So that's what that looks like. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and it might be easiest if you just do maybe one section at a time. So we go in and in. I'm going to pop that out, see what it's looking like. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing that for each section as we just go up our tree. In and in. And then the top of my tree. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Go in and across. And across. And then that top section. Okay, now that I have all my trees cut out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold them in half, each of them in half, but I'm going to put the pattern, cool pattern side on the inside of the fold. You don't really see much of the pattern until the way end of this project. So as I go, I'm going to go ahead and make two piles with the two different patterns so that I can kind of keep them separate, because I want to take each pattern, I'm going to take turns gluing them together. Okay, so we have our funky stripe pile and then our regular stripe pile. So funky stripes, regular stripes. So if you only do one pattern, then it's not as big of a deal. You could also do two different colors if you are doing construction paper, or even with patterns. Maybe you could do one that has red and one that has green, or maybe like a gold color and green. Do whatever you like with that. So this is a fun project. You can kind of just get creative with it. Alright, so I'm going to start with my funky pattern here, and I'm going to get a piece of paper so that I don't get glue anywhere. I'm going to keep it folded, and I'm going to put glue only on one side. And then I'm going to get my other stripe pattern, and I'm going to stack it on top. So I'm just going to do every other pattern. I'm going to make sure I put glue, a lot of glue on that side before I stick this other one on. So we got our regular stripe pattern. Next we'll get our funky pattern. And try to line these up as best as you can, but you always can come back later and kind of trim it up if you mess up a little bit. That's not a huge deal. And straight. Okay, and we're going to do our funky pattern. Ah! See, I'm even breaking my tree. That's okay. I think when I glue the next piece on, that will kind of hold it together anyway. Okay, we're going to do my regular diagonal one. Just have one more funky one and one more diagonal one, and then I will show you what this looks like. And if you ever feel like you're really messed up with putting one down, you can always just pick it up and try again. At least until the glue dries. No pressure. Okay. That was a diagonal one, so I want to do the funky one next. And then I'll put my last diagonal one on. Now at this point, once I get my last one down, I can do one of two things. I can either, well, I should clean it up first, but I could either then use this tree and go ahead and glue both sides and stick it into a card, or I could glue both sides and stick them together. I'm going to glue both sides and just stick them together for now, just to make it like a tree that I have standing on a table. But before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I don't have any pieces that are sticking out kind of funny. So I'm going to just kind of trim off any funky things I have going on here. This one doesn't look quite right. I think it was not lined up correctly, so I'll just do that. And clean it up just a little bit. I think they look cool even if you don't clean them up though. But I do want it to be standing straight on the table, so I'm going to just make sure that I don't have any that are sticking out kind of funny on the bottom, or it might look a little bit wobbly. I don't want that. Okay. I have one more that's sticking out on the bottom here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that last side together. So the side that doesn't have any patterns. I'm going to glue that together, and then I'm going to show you what my tree looks like. And please, if you guys do this project, I would really be interested to see your trees in the end. If you want to decorate them, you can maybe use some kind of a pattern to make little circles or something, or and just like you can color them on the paper before you cut it. Or if you want, you can actually use like a hole punch or something, and maybe glue on little things. Ooh, that was messy. Glue on little pieces to it, or you can make hole punches in the tree and maybe like string something around it. That could be interesting too. So you can do lots of things to kind of decorate your tree in the end. All right, so now all that's left is just to fluff it out. And yeah, that's my tree. All right, so you can see the different patterns on the different sides. Whoops, I think I forgot to fluff one. There we go. So yeah, I hope that you enjoy making these. I think they're super fun. You could pretty much make a whole forest of them and then decorate them different ways and use them to decorate your house. Or again, you could use them for cards.